Hi there, this is Alexander Montgomery representing Group 3, Team The Survivors. This is going to be a slightly longer product demo, as this is the final product demo. Um, so this will be kind of an all-encompassing review of the services, the architecture, and the product itself. The original product idea for this was a UI that would serve as ultimately an inventory management system that would allow a user to have a database of products, mod sales, total values, and users. The system itself is hosted in a n-tiered architecture. There's a UI, an API, and a database. Database being NFSQL, API being a .NET, ASP.NET 6.0, and a UI being React JavaScript. All of these are hosted, if you're not familiar with Rancher, that's on the top left. This is a manager on top of Kubernetes, so all of these are managed. The database is not publicly exposed. The API and UI are publicly exposed via load balancers, but everything else is perfectly protected inside of here. The CI systems that were managed for the products are all handled inside of Jenkins. So we're doing builds, Docker containers, all infrastructure pieces, build checks, including sonar scanning for security and quality checks. All of these were managed by Jenkins. And the UI is available with certs provided from Let's Encrypt via 488-UI Ultimate Engineering auth login. So let's go ahead and start by creating an account. Names do not have to be unique, but the username does. So we'll say test user 3, and we use the same username as password. I agree with the terms. Create account. This then redirects to the login. As you can see, we have, I guess, we showed in the video. But there's a pop-up that has all of the logins previously created, so we will say login 3, which is just created, or we used to, sorry, and boom. On first load, we have all the current inventory, and we'll review the database here in a second, but we have all of the product books that exist in the system. We've got our stock numbers for each of them. Seems like most of our bookstore stock is currently in practical discrete mathematics. Can't imagine why that's not selling. The rest seem to be fiction. We do have search functionality, so you can say, I want to see something where I'm discovering, and you could do that. Life, like life. We don't need the book of life, apparently. Enemies. No enemies. But there is the My Book of Enemies, which if you search here, you get that. It is a full encompassing fuzzy search, so as long as you hit something inside of the keywords, it will come up. This is consistent across these ISBNs and pricings. If you've got that, customer that wants a very specific price in their book, apparently. These are paginated React tables, so you can select number of pages, number of rows, so on and so forth, and previous and next. In our case, we don't have a lot of inventory currently. We currently have a total of 6 items inventory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is correct. We have 8 users in the database as of the moment, 2 users added today, and 22 product sales as of today. We also see some total aggregate metrics, which would be useful for employees. How many items sold in June, August, September, and October. Great start to the month. Totally not simulated data. As well as a quarterly sales, which is going to be a artificial break in between months for July, August, September, and October. We do have 4 other pages. We've got the log administration, user profile, and product page. The user profile page allows you to update your username, first name, last name, password, register, which we've already seen, login, which we've already seen, and then the add product page, which allows you to go ahead and create products. I'm going to create a new one here. Test. This is a test. Random ISBN. We do not have any kind of formatting for that. so we don't require ISBN 9 or 13. That is left up to the user. We're going to say we have 10 in stock and 30 of them. Redirect to the page. We now see our test account, 30 as the price, 10 in stock, and ISBN, we just typed in. We do have edits and deletes on that, but we'll get into that later. So that is the UI, metrics, kind of all-encompassing for what we were able to accomplish there. I'm not going to go into the C# code base. Links are always as included to the GitHub, but I'm not going to bore you with that and the circumstances, but we are going to have a look at the database real quick. Just have a look at the schema. So this was the original users table. We created a new user, so I'm going to refresh. We have a couple new user accounts since I refreshed. Definitely not pre-testing before this meeting. So we have user account test user 3, which was created. The passwords are formatted. That is not the password used. That is a decrypted password that we compare hashes against via SHA-1 to make sure that there is no funny business, as well as proper security practices. From there, first name, last name, account created dates, and these are UTC time, so that's why the hours are a little bit off from our current presentation. And a unique GUID presented per. Sales-wise, we have generated 100 sales, and that's why the sales per month were up there. The time of sale, if you want to go by that, we've got a lot of sales all the way through. Prices that are established. We did this because we felt that the product page should have a base MSRP, but the actual sales price was the important part because it could be discounts, coupons, things of that nature, so we differentiated. Products does have its own base price or price in here, but the sale price could be different. Refactor log is just a table that was created that is C# dependent, that lets you actually keep track of tables, changes, updates to the schemas. The last is this sales view summary, and this is actually what's pulled from the sales table. Just the total sale breakdown per month, how many items sold, and what year it occurs. This is how we're actually breaking down the quarters by the month and the year. Alright, that I believe is the entirety of the setup. Actually, we'll just go over the API code. I know I said it wasn't, but we'll change it up here real quick. Add a window. Capture. Apologize, I'm still a little bit new to the software that we're using for monitoring and recording these sessions. So this is our API code. We have 3 primary controllers controlling sales, products, and users. We have a standard DAL layer or database access layer with a standard DB context. Entities defined for each of the database objects that are working back, and then models defined for each of the requests that can come in. This technically would be DTOs, but apparently we don't call them DTOs when we're working in C# land. From there, we have standard program.js. This is setting up all of our standard injection. As a security practice, we are allowing for allow any header and allow any method, which is not ideal, but with that, we also have dev endpoints for Swagger and Open API v3 as a default. Starting from the controllers, we do allow for basic CRUD operations, including update users, authentication routes, create users, and a authorize route that is what is controlling the middleware for authorization authentication. We are using a JWT middleware layer that does standard invoke. Tokens are no skew, and we allow, I believe it was 7 days for these tokens. That would, of course, you'd want to bring in, but standard auth, standard rationale and reasons from it. So as the user flow goes, all points are authenticated for all controllers, minus the user's controller, which allows for the updating, creation, and authentication of users, which you can't, put an authentication behind an authentication endpoint, and same for the create user functionality. So those are the only ones that we are not authorized against. Everything else you must be logged in, have valid GMT token, and go from there. That, I believe, all logic, of course, is captured in the service layer. The control layers do not really have much of anything. We're just returning the iAction result. Without going in too deep into it, it's just saying okay versus the problems that may arise. But all logic for these requests are kept down in the service layers, which are doing the standard C# convention of an interface with the extension for the service itself. And then just creating and doing things as needed. I think that should wrap it up. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the feedback. I'd be more than happy to be back with you. Thank you so much for watching our product demo, and thank you so much for the semester. I really appreciate it.